What is information anyway? Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today let's begin part 1 of 3 videos examining whether mutations produce the type of new genetic information required for one kind of living thing to evolve into another. This topic has major implications for evolution, so let's think about it. Focusing on check number 4 of critical thinking, check the definitions. See, if we're going to discuss whether mutations produce useful new genetic information, we need to define keywords like mutations and information. Mutations are a type of permanent change to DNA sequences, often due to copying mistakes, or to processes like radiation damaging the DNA that an organism will pass on to its offspring. There are various types of mutations you can learn about in the linked resources. For instance, duplication mutations create extra copies of DNA sequences, which further mutations can alter. Notice though, duplicating a message doesn't communicate new information, it just repeats existing information. And ultimately, the vast majority of mutations yield neutral or harmful effects. Sometimes though, mutations do produce new traits, which could be considered beneficial in certain environments. For example, mutations to the MC1R genes can cause otherwise light-furred mice to lose control over how much pigment their cells produce, resulting in dark fur. The dark-furred mice can camouflage better in dark environments. So that's an example of a beneficial mutation producing a new trait, dark fur. Some people would call that a gain-of-function mutation because the mice gained the ability to produce more pigment. But that's just another way of saying the mice lost their ability to control pigment production thanks to corruptions of the MC1R gene. So even gain-of-function mutations typically involve losses of functional genetic information. On that note, how do we define information? I've read evolutionists say that creationists use bait-and-switch fallacies when discussing biological information because information can have multiple definitions. For instance, 20th century computer scientist C.E. Shannon defined information as a statistical measure of improbability. To see what that means, imagining opening the box for a 1,000-piece puzzle and dumping out the pieces. Those pieces would end up in a highly improbable arrangement in that there's virtually no way you could dump the pieces again and recreate the exact same pile. Documenting each piece's position would take tons of Shannon information. But a random pile of puzzle pieces doesn't communicate anything meaningful like the specific arrangement of pieces according to the puzzle box does. And that's the issue with only using Shannon's definition of information in biology. As Dr. Werner Gitt points out in a book that you can read online for free, linked to this video, Shannon information doesn't consider a message's meaning, accuracy, clarity, or usefulness. It doesn't answer questions about the message's sender and receiver, and it doesn't differentiate between messages produced by random or meaningful processes. Some evolutionists have tried expanding Shannon's concept by defining semantic information as information that physical systems, including living creatures, can access regarding their environment for survival purposes. For instance, the sight of an antelope conveys survival information to a lion, but the sound of the wind doesn't. So again, this definition of information doesn't capture the holistic nature of information as a two-way system of communicating meaningful messages. So semantic information doesn't have anything to do with the dictionary definition of semantics, which is the study of meaning. Based on Dr. Gitt's work, though, a research team identified a much more holistic definition of information as an encoded, symbolically represented message conveying expected action and intended purpose. Dr. Gitt explains that information involves 5 levels. Statistics, for instance, about the quantity and frequency of letters in a message. Syntax, the rules for putting letters and words together. Semantics, the meaning a message conveys. Pragmatics, the response a message activates. And apobetics, the communication's result. And genetic information involves all 5 levels. And notice, information is immaterial. Physical things like paper and ink or physical processes like hand motions can convey information, but the information is not a property of the paper, the ink, or the hand motions themselves. That's why Dr. Gitt persuasively argues that information originates only from minds. We'll look closer at why mutations can't account for the origins of functional new genetic information next time. Meanwhile, for more on how to think critically about faith-challenging messages, you can access my other CT scan videos packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at secular university. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia. Just wanted to let you know that if you like these videos, a free, easy way to help Answers in Genesis Canada produce more content and equip more people to defend their faith is to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and of course share these resources. I know you might hear that kind of thing a lot, but the reason these actions are so important is they inform social media algorithms to help these videos reach more people who can benefit from them. And that's especially helpful because advertising is super expensive. But this way, even media platforms which are often unfriendly towards biblical content become tools to promote gospel outreach for free. And if you're on board to share this message of biblical authority and want to give, you can also make a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter by clicking the link below. Thank you so much.